So last Sunday, you all helped us to finish decorating the Christmas tree as we began the season of Advent. Christmas trees we see in churches, and Christmas trees we see at home. So how many of you have a real tree? You do? Okay. Do you have artificial trees? Okay. So do all of you have your trees up already? No, not yet. Okay. So it's been a busy holiday. Well, we decorate our homes and our sanctuaries with pine trees or evergreen trees, the kind of trees that are still green even during the winter time. That's a Christmas tradition that comes from parts of the world wherever it's very cold this time of the year. But in parts of the world where it's much warmer, they have different decorations and different traditions. Do any of you know what the line is that goes around the center of the earth where it's really hot? It's the equator. Very good. That's where the sun is at its hottest. And countries that are close to the equator are warm this time of year, so they have different traditions. And one of those traditions has to do with this particular plant. What do we call that? Well, we would call it a poinsettia. But in Mexico, they call it the flower of the Holy Night. And there's a legend about how it came to be associated with Christmas time. There was a little girl whose name was Maria, and she was on her way to church on Christmas Eve. And she was going to put flowers on the altar, but they didn't have a garden and they were poor. They couldn't afford any flowers. So she just picked some wildflowers that she saw on the side of the road. But as she was walking along, the petals that were very small fell off of them. And she looked down and she saw that what she had in her hands just looked like a big bundle of weeds. And she was sad over this and she was crying. And then she looked up and she saw a vision of Jesus. And Jesus said, "I've seen you and I've heard your prayer. And you will have very beautiful flowers to put on the altar tonight." And when she looked down, they looked like this, with big red petals and big lush green leaves. And so in Mexico, this is something that they use to decorate their homes and their churches around this time of the year. We call it a poinsettia because the person who brought these back to the United States was a United States ambassador to Mexico 175 years ago. And his name was Joel R. Poinsett. And if any of you ever go to the South Carolina beach for vacation times, you might pass Sumter, South Carolina, which is where he was from. There's a cemetery there outside of a church where volunteers all year long put poinsettias on his grave. Will you pray with me? Dear God, we ask your blessing on the families that bring these children to church and the church that surrounds them with love and prayer. Amen.